Hello, this is Stephen O, and yes, we're back with the Batman 66 episode review, and today this is a very special Batman episode as we are experiencing the first ever live-action superhero crossover where Batman and Robin will not only be teaming up with the Green Hornet and Kato, but we'll be going up against one of their newest adversaries, Colonel Gum, in a piece of the action. So, without any further ado, let's get into the review. We'll begin our episode with another normal night in Gotham City, but things are different, as the infamous Black Beauty has turned up. And for those who are huge of the pulps, know that the Black Beauty is the car for the Green Hornet and his companion Kato, who have appeared in Gotham City. And already, the mystery is why are these heroes in Batman's territory? We then see that they then go to interrogate Colonel Gum and his men, who they then proceed to quickly knock out and say that they have finally found the head of the stamp counterfeiting ring and plan to come tomorrow and fix and clean it all up. We then cut to morning, where Colonel Gum has a talk with his boss, Pinkie Preston, who says that she's seen last night's events and wonders who was responsible. Though the foreman says he's chased them away, she's not convinced and decides to call Commissioner Gordon. When Commissioner Gordon gets her phone call, he is shocked to find out it is the Green Hornet and quickly rushes to the bat phone to quickly alert Batman. We then cut to Wayne Manor with Bruce and Dick in the study looking at one of Bruce's rarest stamps, though finds it very funny. Would this play a part in the story? Well, we'll find out soon enough, as Alfred comes telling that he's needed in his study. He then goes and finds out that the Green Hornet's in town, and he and Batman are shocked. They then slide down the bat poles. We also get during this scene where it turns out that Britt Reed has tried to call Batman and Robin, Bruce and Dick too, or at least Bruce. But we don't have no time for that, as we're sliding down the bat poles, the opening credits. We then open up, where it turns out that the Green Hornet and Kato, played by Van Williams and Bruce Lee respectively, are visiting heroes. They then go to Commissioner Gordon's office, where they are shocked to find out that the Green Hornet's not only in town, but everyone knows. You see, for them, the Green Hornet is a notorious criminal, but never once before has he even thought about operating in Gotham City, and is known for being a high-caliber criminal. Batman then uses some bat logic to think that the Green Hornet is after a rare pink chip stamp that is known to have been lost to time, and considering his giant criminal persona, they think that must be it. But then they interrupt him when Britt Reed comes in. Turns out he's been called in, he's in Gotham City visiting, the Daily Sentinel business, but also to reacquaint himself with Bruce Wayne and Pinkie Preston, who they've known, since kids. And automatically, he gets to meet Batman for the first time, and of course he is informed of the fact that of the Green Hornet's in town, and tells him that the Green Hornet is one dangerous opponent. We then cut back to the factory again, where Colonel Gum and his men are making counterfeit stamps, and it turns out he plans to commit one big stamp coup. But we also find a bit about Stamp's character. Like in the beginning, he likes having alphabet soup, but he's getting really annoyed with Pinkie Preston. We then cut back to the Batcave, where Batman and Robin are going through the Bat computer to find the Green Hornet's real identity, but it comes up with nothing. Realizing that there's no luck there, and realize that Bruce and Dick's responsibilities, Batman changes back into Bruce and goes on essentially a family dinner date, or friendly sort of date, with Pinkie Preston and Britt Reed along for the ride. The two are kind of fighting for Pinkston's affection, which I like, but it's also showed that even though they were friends as kids, they also had a bit of a rivalry. As that's happening, they find out that we also see that Pinkie Preston, Britt Reed, and Bruce are also being followed by Colonel Gum in disguise. And just as the date's over, they then go to a stamp dealer where Bruce has to inquire about his stamp, where he meets Colonel Gum in yet again disguise. After that, they then go back to their respective, base of operations, because the Green Hornet and Kato are in town. they don't necessarily have a hideout, but instead are in the hotel room and plan to go and apprehend Colonel Gump. We find a bit more about him that in reality, the Green Hornet and Kato pose as criminals, but in reality they're heroes because their line of work is a bit different. They don't have colourful rogues gallery. They have more traditional mobsters and more crooks with a gimmick than anything else. But they're also worried that they encounter Batman because of their notorious reputation. But they go anyway. And Batman and Robin also head to the Pink Chip Stamp Factory knowing about what's going to go down. Just as that's happened, we also find that Pinkie Preston, by accident, finds out Colonel Gump's involvement and plans to apprehend her, but instead she's quickly apprehended and taken away. We then find that the Batmobile has pulled up and quickly hides the Batmobile and wait for the Green Hornet and Kato to show up. The Black Beauty then shows up. The Green Hornet and Kato quickly get out and head into the stamp factory. Batman and Robin then do their usual climb up the window. When they look in, they see the Green Hornet, Kato, confront Colonel Gump and his men about the, counterfeiting stamp operation. They're then thrown into this giant machine, and as that happens, Batman and Robin burst out and a bat fight breaks out, where it looks like they're going on their side until they end up getting knocked on to this giant glue pad, and they watch in horror as the Green Hornet comes out, turned into a giant stamp, only waiting for Kato to end up too. And when Kato's done, Batman and Robin will be given the same fate. And that is our cliffhanger. Okay, I like how everyone is clearly reacting to the fact that Green Hornet's in town, especially with Chief O'Hara, Commissioner Gordon, Batman, and Robin. I also like how we get to see understand a bit more Bruce Wayne's childhood, how he was friends with Reed and had a bit of a rivalry. Well, they were sort of frenemies. They were friends, but they were sort of rivals. I really like that. The little scene we get with Aunt Harriet is fine and great, and Alfred, the little scene that he has is always fun. But of course, let's talk about what making this episode very big. Like I said in the beginning, this is the first ever superhero crossover in live action. Before the Arrowverse, with all the CW Arrowverse shows, before the MCU, this was the first. This is where crossovers began. Even in the 60s, crossovers were very rare and were completely unheard of. Now, for those who don't know, like I said, the Green Hornet and his aide Kato drive around in the Black Beauty. Now, on police records, they are wanted criminals, but in reality, they are heroes combating crime in their city, normally by taking down all the city's big racketeers. And very few people know of not just their true identity, but true nature, which included his Reed's secretary Casey, and of course the district attorney Frank Scanlon. Also, now Van Williams was a very known actor at the time, but the show became a cult classic hit courtesy of what was the first acting gig or first big break for pop culture icon Bruce fucking Lee, and the role of Kato, the martial art crime fighter who can knock everyone. You see, the Green Hornet show that was airing around this time was produced by the same man, William Dozer, who of course did Batman. Now, however, though this fact became a huge pop icon, cult classic hit, at the time it wasn't doing so well, at least with ratings. Critically, yes, but rating-wise, no. And as a result, in order to help promote the show, and essentially get more people interested in watching, this was sort of a way of promoting it, but also a big crossover. Now, I also like how, again, the Green Hornet show was very different in sense of tone, as it was more serious, gritty crime drama compared to the lighthearted, campy Batman show. So in many ways, you could view this as a grittier Batman, the lighthearted Batman viewing a hero that was what he used to be, a gritty, more dark Avenger crime fighter. And overall, I like how we are setting up these characters for their big rivalry and also the big climax in the second part. But let's talk about the villain. Colonel Gump is clearly a villain that got hit under the rug from the get-go. First off, I like the fact that pretty much he was not on Batman's radar. It wasn't until the Green Hornet came to town where Batman pretty much took notice of him. So he could have been the only criminal to actually get away with his big caper. Now, Roger C. Carmel does a pretty fantastical job as Colonel Gump, hammering up and basically playing him a maniacal, like he's completely over the top. Now, I absolutely love the actor's performance, but if I can, and the gum up and the stamp obsession, for me, fits in the realm of Batman with a mastermind villain with an unhealthy obsession, and he has some things that make him comical. The fact that he's always annoyed with Pinkie Preston not taking him seriously, his alphabet soup, which he likes to eat, and of course, everything with glue related, and stamps, of course, being everything his capers are usually around. But if I could critique one thing, is his outfit. He's supposed to be a colonel. It would be nice if he wore something more military-like and less foreman-like. But that's a really minor critique, but I really felt if he did that, he could have been far better. Pinkie Preston, believe it or not, this is not the first time we, Batman, have seen this actress before. She was the Mad Hatter's first female accomplice in Season 1, as the girl from Magda, Lisa. The fact she returns, and she's the actress returns by playing a different role, and basically this rich millionaire, I really find her average. But I will admit, when we get to the second part, she plays a huge role in the story, and is pretty fun. A piece of the action is, for me, is a classic example of a setup episode. It's setting up everything that we are going to have huge fun for the second part. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. This whole thing's set up with character, we are shown it, we are told it, and also like how we see the dilemma the Green Hornet's in when he's in town, with the fact that Batman and Robin with their notorious reputation. Overall, this is a pretty good episode. And there we have it. That was a piece of the action of so far a really good episode, and for me one of my favorites. Join us next time in Batman Satisfaction. So until then, tune in for the next Steven hour, the next Steven time, ladies and gentlemen. So long for now.